guys, so before we begin, I'm just going to go ahead and hand the deck of cards over to the spectator. They're going to go ahead and shuffle the cards as much as they want to, just like this. Now, while they're shuffling, I'm just going to explain that what happens in this trick is just sort of like a story. I'm just going to be telling them how magicians keep track of all the very complicated factors within a deck of cards. So once they're done shuffling, they're going to hand the cards back over to me, and I'm going to say, so let's go ahead and take a look at a deck of cards, and let's see how complicated it really is. So in a deck of cards, we have 52 different cards. All of these cards completely shuffled, everything completely random. We have clubs, hearts, spades, diamonds, all of these different suits. We have number cards, face cards, jacks, queens, kings, you know, all of these different cards, red cards, black cards, everything here, very, very hard to keep track of. Now you're probably wondering, how does somebody like me, how does somebody like a magician keep track of all these different factors while I'm doing a card trick? Well, it's actually pretty simple. It all just comes with practice. If you just practice with a deck of cards, you start to become attuned to it, and you start to notice all the little nuances and all the little details that a normal person's eyes would not normally be able to catch. Now, I'm sure you didn't notice this, but as I was just showing you the cards just a minute ago, you probably didn't notice, but I was actually trying to memorize the entire order of your shuffled deck, of the shuffled order that you just gave me. And I'm not sure if I did it perfect, but I'm pretty sure, since I've been doing this for so long, I think I can actually find 4 specific cards, because I think I was able to keep track of where they were. So I'm going to try and do this by cutting the cards. So I think there, I think there, yeah, and then there. So yeah, like I said, if you just practice hard enough, you become attuned to the deck of cards. You really become very knowledgeable of where everything is in the deck. You just gain like a sixth sense. It's very hard to say. But I think because of this, I was able to find the 4 aces from your shuffled deck of cards. And yeah, guys, that is the trick. And now for the tutorial. Alright guys, so this is the tutorial for the trick that you just saw, how to memorize a deck of cards. Well, here's the big secret. You are actually not memorizing a deck of cards. You are simply, rearranging the cards, I guess you could say that, to have the cards be exactly how you want them. That is essentially how this trick works. Now, of course, this is an impromptu trick, so that means the spectator can go ahead and shuffle the cards as much as you want. There's no setup required. You can walk up to somebody and just do this anytime, anywhere. But preferably you should have a table, because you are going to be doing that little ace production in the end. But once the spectator is done shuffling the deck, they're going to hand the cards back over to you. And what you're going to do is just a very simple move. You're just going to hold the cards like this, and all you want to do is you just want to make sure that there's no aces within like the bottom 5-6 cards or so. So here I'm okay. You can see the first ace is over here, and actually there's another ace right next to it. I'll get into that in a little bit, but this is okay for the ace to be over here. You just don't want the ace to be like over here. That would be bad. So if, for example, there was an ace here, all I would do is just cut the cards and then start again. There would most likely not be an ace if I cut the cards. So here's the part where you are showing the spectator the cards and you're just explaining all the different factors within a deck of cards. So the cool part about this trick is you're actually doing all the dirty work, all the sleight of hand right in front of their face, and they don't even notice it because you're like telling a story and you're telling them all these details. So they're gonna have sort of like a sensory overload, and they're not really gonna be able to, process exactly what you're doing with your sleight of hand. And it also is pretty hidden anyway, so they're not really gonna be able to see it regardless. So essentially, you're going to be culling the 4 cards to the top of the deck. Now, if you know what a cull is, it's basically when you take the card here and you hide it underneath the spread, and then when you continue to spread the cards, you square up the card ends up on the top of the deck. So yes, you're going to be doing this with all 4 aces. Now, you're probably wondering, how am I supposed to cull multiple cards? Because if you've tried it before, it probably feels a little bit weird. So I'm gonna try and explain the best I can to explain how I cull multiple cards, what feels good for me, how I do it. First, you're gonna just spread through the cards. When you see your first ace here, let's say the ace of hearts, for example, how I do it is you just take the card that's on top of it. So in this case, the 10 of hearts, just put it pretty squared up on top of that ace. And then you're going to use your fingers to do the rest of the work. You're going to use your fingers to take the ace here, contact this ace with your fingers, and you're going to pull that ace back until you feel it, come out of the spread like this. So you're going to feel that little click as it, disconnects from the rest of the cards. So when you have the first one, you get it there. So then you're going to continue to spread until you see your second ace, which is right over here. Now what you're going to do is you're actually going to sort of take this ace here in the back. You're going to lift up all the cards that are on top of the ace here, and you're going to kind of square up that ace so that it goes below this four of spades here. You're in this position here. This card right here is the ace, and it's on top of this entire packet. That's essentially what I wanted to say. So once it's there, you're going to spread over the ace, and then you're going to move that four of spades over, and then you're going to cull that ace, and it's actually going to go on top of the ace of hearts. So it's actually going to go here, and your ace of spades and your ace of hearts are in this position now, and you're going to hold those back as well in the spread. Continue to spread. When you see your third ace, you're going to lift up all those cards just slightly like this. You're just going to lift them up, and then you're going to cull the third ace there. So it actually is going to go underneath those other aces. You can kind of see that over there. These are the three aces here. It goes right there, and now it's the top ace basically. So once you're there, those cards are still underneath the entire spread here, and then you're going to continue spreading until you see the last ace. You're going to lift up all the cards, kind of square up those two cards, and then cull that card, so now it's going to go on top of those, and then you're going to continue to spread, and those cards are now all underneath the spread. And then when you square up everything, those cards are now culled to the top of the deck. And now you have four aces there on top of the deck. Now, one question you might have is, what if I have two aces that are very close to each other, or what if I have two aces that are right next to each other in the deck like this? If I'm spreading through the cards and I have to cull one of the aces, but what if one of the other aces is right next to it? That shouldn't really be a problem. You just have to sort of misdirect the spectator as you're talking. And if you look them in the eyes when you do it, you don't really have to look at the deck when you cull the cards, because you know that they're next to each other, so you don't really have to look for them anymore. So I'm going to do this without looking right now. I'll show you what it would look like. So I would be like this, just talking to the spectator, and then boom, those cards would be culled to the top of the deck. So when you're showing the spectator all these cards, you don't have to have them constantly looking at all the cards. You can just talk to them also. So you're going to spread through the cards and show them some of the details, obviously, but you don't have to show them the details all the time. You can sometimes take a break and just look them in the eyes and talk to them. And when you look them in the eyes, this is a perfect opportunity to cull the card, because they won't be looking at the deck. If you're afraid of them catching you, you can obviously do that method as well. So essentially, that was how to cull the cards up to the top of the deck. So now I'm going to teach you the ending of the trick, which is, by the way, much easier than what you just learned. It's the ace production in the end. It's very easy. It's actually very fun to do as well. Once you have the four aces controlled to the top of the deck, just like this, you're going to sort of get a break right on top of about a quarter, or 10 to 15 cards or so from the bottom of the deck. So you're just going to riffle up about 10 to 15 cards or so, catch a break just like this. So then when you do that, you're going to talk to the spectator about memorizing the deck and how you tried to find some specific cards. Now at this point, you're going to break the cards at the break here, and you're just going to slip cut 1, 2 cards into the break, and then put the cards back on top and maintain that break. So what you've just done is now you have only 2 aces up here, and these are just random cards here. You only have 2 aces up here. The other 2 aces you've actually just slip cut into that break. So what you're going to do now is cut the cards into 4 piles. So you're going to transfer this pinky break here into a thumb break, just like this. And then what you're going to do is you're going to cut the cards, and you're going to pretend to riffle off a random amount for the first pile. But in reality, all you're going to do is drop this first pile. So all you do is, I just kind of like riffle, and then I just let go at the thumb break, because that's all you're doing. So you just let go of this thumb break, and this is the only pile that you're going to drop here from the thumb break. So now what you have is you have those 2 aces here on top of that first pile. For the other 3 piles, you actually do riffle off random amounts. So now you're going to riffle off just a random amount, about 10 cards or so, and then you're going to split this in half as well, just cut off about 10 cards or so, and then this last one you're going to place over here to the right. I should also mention where you place the piles. So the first one goes furthest to your left, the second one goes close to you in the back, third one goes towards the spectator, and the last one goes to the right. So you're just going to go here, 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 here. It's very important that you put them there, or else the production won't work. So you have to make sure you put the piles exactly there. So once you're in this position here, you actually have 2 aces on top of this pile and 2 aces on top of this pile. There's actually nothing over here, which is pretty funny. And now at this point, you're going to pause for a minute and just kind of explain to the spectator what you've just done. Now for the production, what you're going to do is you're going to cross your hands. So you're not going to pick the cards up like this. You're actually going to take your hands, cross them over to the left and right packets. You're going to pick up the top card from each. You're going to flip it over, and you're gonna put it on top of the vertical piles. Okay, so you're gonna put it on top of these two piles. So you're gonna cross your hands, do that, and then when you do that again, you're gonna cross your hands again, pick up the top two cards, and then place them on the two opposite horizontal piles like that. And that is essentially all the production is. So one more time, it should look something like this. So, and you're just gonna do this pretty fast, and since you're crossing your hands, it's gonna confuse the spectator, and also it's very surprising. The spectator is just not gonna notice that there was nothing here in the first place. So you're gonna cross your hands, take these two cards, put them on these two vertical piles, cross your hands again, take these two cards and put them on the horizontal piles. And that's all you have to do. And now the trick is over. They can examine everything. You cut to the 4 aces from the random shuffle deck of cards. And it's very convincing when you just take each ace off of the pile, because it kind of reminds them that I cut to these 4 random spots, even though these two had nothing to begin with. But yeah, guys, that's essentially the entire trick. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this one. Just practice the coal. I know it's pretty difficult, but you'll get the hang of it if you just practice it. And yeah, this production is also very easy and fun. You can use it with any other 4 card production as well. It can be any type of card trick that you want, really. But yeah, so hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and see you guys for my next one. Bye.